So going back to that, basically the Caterpillar spec does require that you're going to be putting in a higher amount of it. A higher amount of it will actually mean that there's more available anti-wear additives. And I've seen the same thing. A lot of race drivers, for example, will say, well, I need to have a 2000 part per million zinc containing engine oil. And why? That's because I've seen that it holds up a little bit stronger. There's more chemistry available there, and therefore it's going to carry a higher load for a longer amount of time. Now, what's the negative of that? As that does break down, you're going to see it create more sludge in the used oil. So typically in engine oil, it's not a big problem because they've got a lot of detergents in there to handle it. Hydraulic oils, on the other hand, you want them to separate from water oftentimes. So you don't want to put in all of that, or else it won't be able to separate from water. If you put the detergents in there to suspend the sludge, you'll also suspend the water, and then you won't be able to remove it. So you have to end up throwing the oil away sooner than you might want to.
Yeah, and that speaks to something we've spoken about on this channel. I think it was Jim Carey that talked about the difference between the automotive engine oil formulation and the industrial oil formulation. That idea that in engine oils they're sort of designed to carry all the crud that comes about because of combustion, whereas with industrial oils we don't really expect that so much. So that certainly explains a lot. Uh, could we maybe then, for some of our listeners who are going to be end users of the products and want to understand a little bit more about sort of decision making on the type of lubricant that they use, you talked about the production of sludge. If we have
Yes,
zinc content that's too high, and obviously sludge and varnish can be produced as a result of base oil degradation and that kind of thing as well.
sure.
So when we're making decisions about what kinds of hydraulic oil we should be using, realistically, what kind of telltale signs in the equipment are we looking for? Something that would spring to mind would be the smaller the tolerances on your servo valves, for example. Now you're probably a little bit more concerned about silting, as well as the development of sludge and varnish. Is there anything else that we should be considering?
Temperature for sure. So a lot of these uh, ashless formulas can actually go to higher temperatures. And in fact, the interesting thing about that is and I find myself having to kind of back myself off a little bit because there's a lot of crossover between different types of formulas. So it's possible to use some of those same chemistries. We already found that we're using zincs in engine oils and hydraulic fluids, and in some cases, it may be the exact same zinc. But the same thing's true of the ashless chemistries. Some of those are used in air compressors and turbine oil formulas where over there, there's nothing at all that is in there to help manage degradation. I hate to call them lightly formulated, but they kind of can be because you put too many additives in there, then the base fluid can't carry the degradation of the additives, and eventually those varnish things you're talking about become a problem. Same thing being very true, just as you aptly started referring to, in a hydraulic system with very, very tight clearances. So I would see that a ashless product would be desirable in something like that, or perhaps even the ones that are high temperature. If they're very high temperature, the phosphorus only will tend to break down into less of a sludge than would a zinc containing material.